You may be wondering, Logan, what is in that bag? I realised the focus didn't pick up quick enough for you to see what that was, but if I can figure out, this is what was in it. Now I think it works. Wow! I don't know how it actually does it, but that is so cool. Ready? Can I show you here? Yeah! Look at that. It might just be cooler if I chuck it on the... Oh yeah. Alright, now, why this is so cool and so absolutely important is for this reason. If I twist the front of this, I can black it out entirely, or I can open it up nice and big, which means absolutely nothing to you, but to me it's everything, because I'll just go to the next thing and we'll explain it there. So quick explanation about what this doohickey is that I bought, and thank you first of all, before we get into it, to the lovely lady from Camera House. I don't remember your name and I am so incredibly sorry for that fact. She was able to fix me up with a beautiful discount. It just dawned on me that I completely forgot to talk about the ND filter and I just rambled on, so I'm just going to insert this little bit here. What a variable ND filter allows you to do, you are able to change the amount of light that comes in, which is what this is, you know, blackout, and so forth. That has two purposes, well, three I suppose. One, if you're into doing long exposure photography, having an ND allows you to get like afternoon exposures where, I don't know what the term is, but it allows you to take long exposure shots in the daytime because you can set the shutter speed really, really low, like 30 seconds, and just turn your ND all the way black and still get a good exposure. But you're able to get like milky waves, steely water, that sort of stuff, like really, 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 really smooth movement in the photo. The second one, which is how I use it, is for videography, obviously. If you want to get a natural motion blur in your videos, you need to preserve your frame rate and your shutter speed, and that should always be double. So I shoot at 24 frames per second, so my shutter speed should be 48, but the closest I can get is 50 frames per second, so that's what I'm using. If you don't have an ND, you have to play with the shutter speed depending on how much light's coming in. With an ND, you can just tweak that ND filter a little bit depending on how much light you do or don't want in the shot. Obviously, it's not great in dark areas. This has a minimum 1.3, which is what you're looking at now. So if this were any darker, the 1.3 would, I'd probably have to take it off. In saying that though, in videography and photography generally, now that it's all digital, you should be preserving your highlights, which means you want your shot, if you can't perfectly expose it, you want it a little bit darker than you should, than you want, because you want to make sure you preserve your highlights. Because once things go nuclear, like this whole section here, you cannot get that back. But this whole bit here that's dark, I'll be able to lift that in Lightroom or post in Premiere Pro. So that's what the ND does. And back to the part where I forgot to put that bit in. Yeah. I want to talk to you about my car. There are a couple of options for me to replace the mighty beast. One of which, actually we might just go over them now. Okay, option 1. Don't you hate it when that doesn't work? Let's try again. Option 1. skateboard. Now, you remember in the last episode I was talking about my need to replace my car. The original plan was to sink some money into an electric skateboard because I'm going to be relying on trains and buses for most of the trips, but I need something to get from end to end. The longboard I have is great. It's not electric, obviously, but I think it'll get me from A to B just fine, which is, well, the purpose. The only thing is, it's heavy and it's long, but I have a solution to that too. Option number 2, shortboard. They're both cruisers. It'll work just fine. It's what I've been using. It's how I get to uni currently. I normally park a fair while away from the uni and then ride up to the uni on my shortboard. It's portable. It's easy to put under my arm, but it's a lot more effort to push around because it doesn't glide quite as seamlessly because there's not as much weight in the board itself. I don't think that wanted to be in the video. Option number 3. Now this is probably my most favourite option. Fluoro green penny board. The reason I bought this was because we'll put the penny board down to wishful thinking, but then of course I could always just walk or run, and my only issue with that is I normally have a fair bit of weight on my bag in my back, and I want to start carrying this around all the time, and things get heavy when you're running with stuff on your back. So I don't know, but let's look into it a little bit further. Problem number 1, brakes. As you know, my skateboard and most skateboards don't have brakes. The only brakes you can use are either your feet or sliding, or I can't remember what it's called, but it's like where you turn the board completely sideways. Either way, I don't know how to slide on a cruiser board, and I don't think I'm confident enough to give it a go yet, and I don't know how to do the other thing, and I don't know if you can do them on the soft wheels that are on cruisers. I know you can do them on like regular skateboards, like trick boards, but yeah, so that's the first problem. Second problem, hills. The hill outside my house, which is known among the family as the house on the hill, is huge, and it is a huge problem because the buses that I need to catch every morning to make this whole getting rid of my car thing viable is at the bottom of that hill, which is exacerbated by the lack of brakes because I go through a ridiculous amount of shoes if I'm using them to brake the entire way going down the hill. Not really a viable option. Third issue, and this is kind of more of a pro than a con, is filming. It's a lot easier to film on a skateboard once you get it cruising than it is walking, I find, at least. Anyway, you get a lot steadier footage. So that's a bonus win for skateboards. Hello?
Whereabouts are you?
I'm still coming. I'm near the end. Near the...
roundabout?
Yeah.
At the footbridge. Like at the actual footbridge.
Like where the playground is?
Yeah, but yeah, go round to that car park bit.
Where all the cars were for the wedding?
Yeah, exactly right.
Alright, I'll see you there in a minute.
Bye bye.
bye. I'm just at the roundabout now.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Slight change of plans. Mel's got the kids at a park. I'll go to the park and then I'll do the rest of this bit vlog. Here's my family. So we can see the kids. Right? So that's all that black. And then it is, isn't it? Because then you can like perfectly expose it.
I like it. Well done.
But that camera house.
No, don't talk to me about it because I wanted to go.
It's so much bigger than. Bye, family. One thing that's worth mentioning as an advantage for skateboards, and arguably the biggest advantage, is that once you get rolling, you just keep rolling. You just keep going. And going. And I'm sure you get the picture. Let's go and find somewhere to talk about our decisions then. I don't even know where this path goes. A lot of little bumpy bits on the road, but look at that. At the end of the day, the only thing that's really stopping me from riding a skateboard everywhere is the stopping issue and the hill issue. I don't have a solution for either of them yet, but I think the only way I'm going to be able to try and work around them is trial and error. So next week I'll spend all week on the longboard and see what sort of trials and tribulations come from it. The week after that I'll spend on the short cruiser and see how that goes, and then the third and final week I'll just walk everywhere, and by the end of it I'll know for sure if I really want to invest any money on an electric skateboard or if I should just fix my car.